All right, team, we're good? Sorry?
Shabbat Shmina Chagav Shabbat Kensha. He did the Shechita. He did the slaughtering on the fat one, the meaty one.
It's better than the first one. That's Kehusha v'Achar Kach Shemena, right? And the Machloket is it an Avera? Is identical to the position of Rabbi Shmuel ben Osher, Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka in an entirely different context. Started with the Mishnah in Psachim that said a person should not eat on Erev Pesach, Samoch Lamincha. Okay, from Samoch Lamincha, a person should not be eating. We saw the Rashbam. Who is the Rashbam? Shmuel ben Rabbeinu Meir, right? Rashi's grandson, who explains what? Why is the reason why we don't eat? What is the reason why we don't eat on Erev Pesach?
Hidur mitzvah.
Hidur mitzvah. Two critical words, Hidur mitzvah. And that sent us on this journey to try to understand what exactly is this principle of Hidur mitzvah. We were trying to understand it. We saw a Breita in Masechet Shabbat. We compared it to the Rashbam's context, right? We analyzed that. We analyzed whether it's Midah Oraisa or Midah Rabbanan, the Ritva versus others as to whether it's Midah Oraisa or Midah Rabbanan. And then we started exploring the question of Hidur mitzvah doche Shabbos, or Hidur mitzvah doche Shabbat. What is that?
Does Hidur mitzvah push off Shabbat?
What do you mean by push off Shabbat?
Break Shabbat or break Shabbat.
Can I break Shabbat in order to perform Hidur mitzvah? The Svarad HaMachloket, or how do we explain what's going on behind the Machloket here? What is really going on here?
Is the mitzvah of doing the korban, is Hidur mitzvah part of the mitzvah or not part of it?
Good. Okay, good. Well, what do you mean by that? Can you explain a little?
I forgot what the two words were.
What were the two words that we used?
Is it klali?
Klali or prati? We had two different ways of understanding what Hidur mitzvah is. One option is that Hidur mitzvah is klali. What does klali literally mean? General versus?
Prati.
Which means?
Specific.
What exactly did we mean when we said klali versus prati? Who can explain? Jordan, what did we mean when we said klali versus prati? Klali is its own general concept. When I do a mitzvah, I have an additional extra idea to do hidur, and that's a nice thing as well, right? Prati means?
Prati means is a part of every other mitzvah.
Internally, a part of the mitzvah is hidur. So when I buy a beautiful etrog, have I fulfilled the mitzvah of etrog and a separate mitzvah of hidur?
Yes.
Or, that would be what? That would be klali. Or have I internally enhanced my performance of what mitzvah, Mitchell? Exactly. Of Daled Minim. What's a Hakira? A conceptual distinction, right? Fine. Then we pose the following case in our square here. Hidur mitzvah doche Shabbat. Again, one more time. What does that mean?
Hidur mitzvah pushes off Shabbat.
Pushes off Shabbos. What do we mean by pushes off Shabbos? Are we allowed to suspend the rules of Shabbos in order to perform Hidur mitzvah? What was the particular context that we're dealing with? Korbanot. If Hidur mitzvah is klali, then will you be allowed to violate Shabbos? No. Why? Because of the 613 mitzvos, there are very few cases where you can actually suspend the rules of Shabbos in order to perform a mitzvah. What were some of the examples that we gave? Pikuach nefesh, right? Saving someone's life. What else? Certain karbanos tzibur. What else? Bris milah, right? So those were some of the few examples that we had where you're allowed to violate Shabbos. There are a couple more, but those are some of the prominent examples where you're allowed to violate Shabbos. Hidur mitzvah is not on that list. So obviously, if it's klali, are you going to be allowed to violate Shabbos? No. If it's prati, then maybe. Right? Good. If it's d'Rabbanan, are you ever going to be allowed to violate Shabbos for Hidur mitzvah? No. Even among the Oraisas, we came up with 3 examples. Again, there are a couple more, but there are very few examples of things that you're allowed to violate Shabbos for. So certainly if it's d'Rabbanan, you think the rabbis can come along and make something up and tell you, oh yeah, now you have to violate Shabbos in order to perform this rabbinic mitzvah? Certainly not. So we know that this whole Gemara is going to be a problem for the Ritva. Again, what's Rashi's relationship to the Ritva? Are they Rashi's earlier or later than the Ritva?
Rashi's earlier.
Rashi's earlier, okay? Rashi is in the 1000s, the Ritva is in the 1200s, okay? And Rashi is in Ashkenaz, whereas the Ritva is in Sfarad, right? So Rashi is not going to bring up the Ritva, obviously, because he didn't know it, right? And he's not going to even ask the question that we are asking on the Ritva. But there's something in this Rashi, and it's subtle, so you have to pay close attention, that will help us explain this Gemara for the Ritva. It's not explicit. Rashi's not going to ask the question. He's not going to provide an answer. But if you read it sensitively, you read it closely, you pay close attention, there's something subtle that Rashi says here that's critical for us and will help us explain this Gemara for the Ritva. According to Rashi, is this Gemara talking about Hidur Mitzvah?
No.
No, what's it talking about? An entirely separate concept, an entirely separate principle. So the Ritva can theoretically come and say, look, Hidur Mitzvah is Midrabanan. You certainly can't violate Shabbos for Hidur Mitzvah, right? You can't violate Shabbos for Midrabanan. What can you violate Shabbos for, however, according to Rabbah? Rabbeinu Gershom is saying whatever you do on Chol, you should do on Shabbat.
Shouldn't do extra.
Can anyone come up with a reason why you would do more on a weekday than on Shabbat?
Because
To
you don't
avoid
want
doing
to
Hidur Mitzvah, Eino Docha Shabbos. That's a very good reason why you would do more on a weekday than on Shabbat. Rabbeinu Gershom is saying whatever you do on a weekday, you're going to do on Shabbat as well. What does that clearly indicate?
Hidur Mitzvah Shabbat.
Hidur Mitzvah Docha Shabbat.